Medical school is one of the craziest journeys you'll go through. There's going to be a lot of ups, a lot of downs, good and bad. But there's a few key lessons that I personally learned from my first year. So a lot of you guys are going to be basically starting first year this week. You might have already started or even started next week. And trust me, I was in the same position as you guys last year. I know what you're feeling. So these are 10 key things that I actually learned from this last year. Let's start off firstly with the work-life balance. So a lot of people tend to say, okay, the normal medical student stereotype, you don't usually have a social life. I for one can tell you that that is absolute cap. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's one of the most difficult things of medical school is not actually the work, not the amount of work that you get given, just the amount of time you have to do the work. Yes, it's a very time consuming degree. You need to give it a lot of time compared to any other degree. However, if you do organize your time and give medicine its time every single day, you're going to have time for everything else you need to do. I personally was not able to do this at the beginning, I can't lie. Yes, it did improve later on. It did sometimes fall, I can't lie. But I was able to get back on my feet a lot of the times. And why is that? Because of organization. You've got to be able to organize your time. You can't be saying, okay, this week I'm going to just chill a little bit. Unfortunately, no, it's not the case. If you do, fair enough, but you're going to have to do extra work every single other week, trying to catch up on the other few weeks. And the worst thing that can happen at medical school is ending up falling behind. Because I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's very, very, very difficult to have to try and catch up and do almost double the amount of work when the work that you get set for 1 week is already heavy. Imagine having to do double the amount. If you're able to dedicate a certain amount of time in a day to the work that you need to get done for medicine, trust me, you've got plenty of hours to try and get through everything else you need to do. Whether it's going out with your mates, doing a part-time job, or whatever it is, you've got time for it. But if you go in without a plan of every single day, every single week, trust me, it's not going to end up going well. The next thing is discipline. Discipline needs to be your best friend. A lot of us, including myself, have gotten accustomed to needing motivation, whether it's watching motivational videos, whatever it may be. We're used to that, and unfortunately motivation is a short-term solution to our everyday problem. Discipline. We're just not disciplined. However, there's one thing that I would like to say on motivation though. Motivation is good in the long term, because if you're constantly being motivated for a certain amount of time, eventually it instills discipline where you no longer need motivation. And that's what medicine needs. You need to be disciplined in getting the work that you need to get done that day, done. Now on to everything that goes on to medical school, the lectures. Lectures are a big waste of time. If you're someone who's going to UOB, you'll be lucky enough to have a lot of older year students, including myself, who'll be happy enough to just give you our notes. And the best thing about that is you don't really need to go to any lectures or even watch the lectures, to be fair, because everything's literally been documented as if it's the subtitles of that lecture. And the main problem with lectures, especially the ones in person, is firstly, it's not under your control, so you can't ever tell the professor just stop the lecture and ask them a question. No, you got to do that in your own time afterwards. Yes, you can watch the lecture, but at the same time, that's really time consuming. Imagine you've got like 10 lectures a week. That's 10 hours at least, if it's an hour long each, of lectures to watch every single week. Whereas you could be using half of that time to just read through lecture notes and then just make Anki flashcards and just testing yourself on the flashcards. And an even better idea is, instead of having to make the flashcards, just use the flashcards that I will give you and just do that. So you can see, yeah, it literally helps once again with that work-life balance. It links back to it. You're able to just cut down the amount of time you spend doing the work that's required to be done in the set day, and it just gives you a lot of time to just chill. So my main advice, have a go to lectures for the first, if you're a first year, see if you like it or not. Generally they're going to be quite rubbish, but I would recommend you just completely abandon it, because you'll see later on that it's very useless, and later on it's kind of too late because you've gone to so many of them. Next thing, networking. Networking is probably the most fundamental things when it comes to medicine, and it's probably a big way of becoming successful in medicine. Not even the degree, but just in the profession as a whole. When it comes to, for example, publications, if you know someone who's going to be publishing something and you can somehow get onto it, whether it's doing kind of the work that they can't be asked doing or whatever it may be, it helps you. Even at the more kind of superficial levels, like med school, Anki flashcards. If some of you guys know me, you'll be able to just get my flashcards from me instead of having to make your own. So there you go, you can kind of see how networking really helps. So we've talking about how networking helps, especially when it comes to helping you guys with revision and stuff. Talking about revision and exams, what do you need to know for your exams, and how important is everything that you learn towards your exams. A lot of people say, okay, make sure it's breadth over depth when it comes to your revision. I'm not gonna lie, that's a whole load of cap. Because for me at least, I felt that you had to know every single little bit of detail. Especially when it comes to the multiple choice questions. They can ask you about the littlest things on a PowerPoint slide. And also a lot of people think, is there any high yield or low yield content? Which one should I know? Unfortunately, regardless of what anyone else would like to say to you, everything is high yield. The exams could ask you about every single possible thing that has been taught to you. Anything that's literally on a PowerPoint slide can be asked in an exam. So no, unfortunately, at least for UOB, there is no specific high yield content when it comes to the first year med school exams. The next thing, medical students. What are they like as a person? I can't lie, bare med students are snaky, fam. Like, unfortunately, a lot of people already have that, not really a misconception, but it's facts, yeah. Med students are snaky in general. But like, nah, not all med students are snaky, but a lot of them tend to be. It's the same group of people who you'd have seen at college not helping each other out when it came to kind of med school interviews and stuff like that. The people who just like to keep all the notes to themselves, any secret information to do maybe with the exams that have been leaked just to themselves. Yeah, it's them type of people, unfortunately. In an ideal world, we'd hope that everyone would be supporting each other, trying to get and hope for the best of each other. But unfortunately, no, that isn't the case for med students, innit? But to those of you watching who are med students, I hope you guys can change that, innit? Another thing which is quite peak when it comes to med school, there is no transition period. When you come to med school, coming from year 13, entering medical school, no, unfortunately, there is no transition period of allowing you guys kind of settle in with a heavy workload and just the amount of work you got to be doing. No, they literally throw you into the deep end straight from the get-go. And I think that's the hardest part of medical school, trying to just adjust to the new working environment. I remember my first week, we had literally about 7 lectures to do in that whole week, as well as a few anatomy sessions as well. So preparing for all of that without knowing what specific resources to be using, without knowing what we need to be doing, how, yeah, it's all a bit mad. I'm praying for you guys, innit? But you guys do have all the notes and flashcards, hopefully, for University of Birmingham medical students at least. So you should be alright, inshallah. Next thing, we're on a bit of a nicer tone. You'll eventually find the right people. A lot of people do ask me, how'd you find all your mates? Was it that difficult? I'll be real, there is a place for everyone, literally. You'll find your people. And that's the main thing. You need to find your people. Don't try and fit into a crowd that you don't necessarily fit into just for the sake of a few reasons. Try and meet the people that you want to eventually be friends with for a very long time. And it's possible, but you've got to actually try and make yourself open to that. If you're closing yourself off and just kind of isolating yourself from everyone and everywhere, then unfortunately the chances of you finding them people is very, very low. But if you go in trying to actually engage in conversations, chat to a lot more people, trying to meet new people, trust me, it's going to increase those chances very highly, and eventually it will happen. When it happens, I can't say when, but trust me, it will happen. Onto a bit of a, I don't even know how to describe it, but onto the next bit, mental health. Personally, not struggled in anything too serious when it comes to mental health, but it does take a toll sometimes. Sometimes the workload can become overwhelming, especially if you've been behind for quite a while, which will happen to me at some point, and having a lot of other responsibilities on top of that, everything can just seem like complete crap. But just like to say, yeah, there is light at the end of the tunnel, innit? And talking to a lot of my mates, like, what really helps, literally just chilling, which links on to the next point, having some time away from medicine. The thing when it comes to friends, you should be chilling with people who have something else going on with their lives. If you're just chilling with people who are constantly just talking about medicine, it's going to make your life seem so depressing. You don't want to be doing that. You want to be chilling with people who are kind of like-minded, people who have kind of similar hobbies, or hobbies that you're kind of interested in, things that you have a bit of a common ground with them, that you guys can at least have conversations about literally anything else except medicine. And that literally makes you feel so much better. And this as well, going out with your mates, chilling with them outside, possibly not even with your mates, but just chilling by yourself, doing the stuff that you like doing on a daily basis that isn't medicine. Trust me, it helps a lot. And I can't lie, those are all the tips. This video might be a bit short, innit? I didn't really want to waffle too much about it, But that's what I basically learned from my first year at med school. So if you guys do have any questions in it, put it down in the comment section below. Just to let you guys know, I'm uploading a lot more on my TikTok, so make sure you go check that out as well. But if you do want to know the key things that helped me get through my first year at med school, make sure to check out this video over here. But if you want to see a real behind the scenes of what really goes on, make sure to check out this video over here. I can't lie, I don't know where this video is going to be at. But regardless, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on the push notification button so you never miss out on bangers like this one, yeah? I'll see you man in a bit. Safe.